Welcome to my channel, The Fit Hub. I am telling that. What is sacroiliitis? The sacroiliac joints are the two joints we have on either side of our low back where the sacrum connects to the ilum. The sacrum is just the final section of our spine, and the ilum is the big Mickey ear part of our pelvis. They come together in a joint called the sacroiliac joint, which helps stabilize the pelvis and the spine. This joint is like most other joints in our body, in that it can suffer from wear and tear, but also from inflammation in rheumatology. These joints are of special interest to us because sacroiliitis is considered a hallmark sign in conditions like ankylosing spondylitis, Ankin spondylitis, or as is an autoimmune inflammatory condition that primarily affects the spine, but it is actually just one condition of many that lie along a spectrum of autoimmune conditions that can affect the back. We tend to call these conditions HLA-B, 27 associated conditions, because they can be associated with the HLB27 gene. Now I have a whole video on the HLB27 gene and the blood test. And if you are finding yourself facing the question of sacroiliitis, I definitely recommend watching that next, as it will explain the test and how to think about both positive and negative results. Conditions that lie along the spectrum include but also psoriatic arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease associated arthritis, which is really just arthritis that we can see in those who have Crohn's, or ulcerative colitis, also reactive arthritis, or even UTIs, which is EI inflammation. We used to think of these conditions as being completely separate entities, but we now understand that they share some common biology and actually live along the spectrum, with many sharing similar symptoms. And sacroiliitis is one of those shared symptoms. Okay, so what does sacroiliitis feel? The symptoms of sacroiliitis like, and how is it different than just run-of-the-mill back pain? The pain of sacroiliitis tends to be localized to around where these sacred LEC joints lie. So this means the pain is low back pain, but low back pain that is not so much in the middle of the spine, but on the sides. Sometimes it's on both sides, sometimes it's just on one, and sometimes it bounces back and forth. We can often point to the pain of sacroiliitis with one finger, and if it does radiate, it usually radiates to the butt and not any further. The pain of sacroiliitis likes us to keep moving and gets worse if we stay still for a long time. This means that sitting at a desk, or in a car, or even on the couch for an extended period of time will aggravate the pain. In fact, most people feel their worst at night when they are lying in bed trying to sleep, and they wake up feeling super stiff in the morning. Now, even run-of-the-mill back pain can get you waking up stiff in the morning, but after about 10 minutes, most people feel okay with situs. It can take upwards of an hour to feel warmed up. Situs pain isn't the type of pain that comes out of nowhere, but instead it sneaks up on us. It starts mild and then slowly gets worse and worse, and we call this an insidious onset. Now remember, when we are thinking about sacroiliitis, we are thinking along that spectrum of HLA-B27 associated diseases. So we are going to want to pay attention to more than just the back pain. What else is going on, and what else should we pay attention to? Well, first, there's the skin. Psoriatic arthritis is along that spectrum, and so we need to look for psoriasis many times. People may not even be aware that they have psoriasis and just have thought they have dandruff or eczema, so we are going to look for flaky lesions on the scalp changes in our nails. And no, this doesn't include the ridges that we can get. I'm talking about brittle discolored nails or red flaky raised rashes on our elbows, our knees, or behind our ears. We are also going to want to know about your eyes. Have you ever had an episode of eye inflammation? I've had patients totally forget to tell me that 2 years ago they were seeing an ophthalmologist for eye inflammation because it had gone away and they just forgot about it. Well, that could have been UTIs, and I kind of need to know. I also want to know about your gut ulcer of colitis and Crohn's disease, are inflammatory bowel diseases that can be associated with an inflammatory arthritis. specifically sacroilitis. So if you've had any issues there, we don't want it to gloss over it. And then, of course, any other symptoms or recent infections you've had are going to be important. Reactive arthritis is called that because it's reactive to an infection, most commonly a stomach bug. So any recent illnesses are going to be important to discuss as well. So once we've done a full head toto evaluation, it's time to do some testing to try to confirm the presence of inflammation in finding sacroiliitis.